looking at the Baroque vocal genre of opera. Now, why is opera important? Well, opera is important to the Baroque period because the beginning of the Baroque period is marked by the first operas. And opera is a completely new genre for the period. Um, so what is opera? It is a big dramatic musical production that is sung throughout. That means that all of the dialogue, any emotive moments, everything is sung. So why opera? Well, in the late Renaissance, there was a group of Italian thinkers that were trying to create dramas that, like the Greeks, where people cried. The Greek tragedies, they were known that people just left so full of emotion, and they were trying to find a way to engage their audience's emotions in the same way. And the Italian thinkers believed that the Greeks did this by singing the entire drama. So they had to come up with a way to sing dialogue, and because remember at this point, all the music was polyphonic, and it was imitative and homorhythmic, and there wasn't much just one line singing. So how do you sing dialogue when it's only one person singing? And they also had to come up with a way to let the audience know what the character was feeling. The final product that they had that was a drama sung all the way throughout, like the Greeks, they called opera. But in the process, they invented the musical elements, the vocal elements of aria and recitative. So opera is a big musical production that's sung throughout. It has a plot, like a play, and it is staged like a play, and it has costuming like a play, but unlike a play, there's music the entire time. It is usually sung in Italian because that's where it was invented. There are operas in English and German and French and other languages, but the primary language of opera is Italian. The topic is almost always secular. There are a few sacred operas, but in general, it's a secular genre because it was invented to provide entertainment during times when you didn't need to focus on the sacred. The other thing is that the musical elements are arias, recitatives, and choruses. And if you don't remember what those are, check out another vocal clip. I'll have another clip for you there on those vocal elements. So, just as a reminder, the aria is the song where the singer expresses an emotion. It's very melodic and it's memorable and it's rhythmically even and it's predictable. The recitative moves the dialogue forward, but it's not very tuneful. It changes keys easily. It starts and stops and it goes fast and slow, much like dialogue. And then finally, the last element that we see in operas and other vocal genres of the period are choruses. And that's just a song for a large group of singers. Usually in opera and other genres, the chorus is a commentary on the situation. So just as a heads up. So make sure you know what these elements are. So there were two types of opera in the Baroque period. During the first part of the Baroque period, when opera was first invented, it was for private entertainment only. It was expensive. It was meant to show off how much money the person putting it on had. It was usually for a special event. Often they would publish the librettos so that people who weren't at the party or the event could just be totally jealous of the people that were there, and it would show off what the partygoers experienced. When we get to the early mid Baroque 1600s, we have a bunch of Venetian businessmen who go to one of these parties and see an opera and say, oh my goodness, we can make money off this, because I know there are plenty of people in Venice who have enough money to pay for a public entertainment like this. And so we can turn this into a for-profit institution. And so after 1637, we have the first opera houses built. So you have a fixed place, much like our movie theaters today. And so you have the businessmen, the impresarios, if you will, that go and they hire a composer to write the opera. They hire the singers. Usually there's two star singers and a couple of extras, and then a small orchestra. And so smaller forces, still big hit wonders, but the focus is on a big return on investment. So you don't want a lot of performers. So the orchestras are usually smaller and you don't have as large a cast for-profit model of opera. So again, originally it was for nobility. Later on, we get a new middle class that's like, hey, we want entertainment too. So the businessmen come up with the idea of a for-profit model. And if you end up in Venice and want to see the original opera house, you can go to La Fenice, and opera is still performed there today. So opera becomes the biggest for-profit model of entertainment in Italy, and it spreads to other parts of Europe. By the time we get to the 1800s, the focus is on huge sets and brilliant costumes and singing and dancing. Budgets are big enough that they can have a bigger cast. The focus can be more on the actual drama rather than on the singers, who were the star singers, who were often like, in the Baroque period, the star singers were like sports superstars, and they made buku bucks. There was the way to pull yourself out of a slum if you could become an opera singer, because you made lots and lots of money. So it was the thing to do. So anyway, just as a reminder, the Baroque, the opera is a secular genre. It's usually really long. It's almost 2 or 3 hours. Usually there's a couple of intermissions. The Baroque operas could go up to 5 hours, because what else were you going to do? There was nothing else to do. So they're secular, they're Italian, they have a plot, they're staged, and they're typically performed in an opera house. So there you have the opera.